Amara got married young, just barely 20. Everyone celebrated her early union, thinking she'd start a family in no time. But months turned to years, and then 11 long years passed. No child. She visited churches, hospitals, and herbal homes. Still nothing. The silence of childlessness weighed heavily on her, and over time, her once vibrant spirit dimmed. Her emotions began to swing like a pendulum. Everything anyone said or did made her cry or rage. Being around her was exhausting. Nnenna, her younger sister, tried her best to be patient, but it wasn't always easy. Amara's pain seemed to swallow everything in its path. Unlike Amara, Nnenna had a different journey. She got married at 28, and exactly a year later, she gave birth to a beautiful baby boy. Her husband, Keen, was overjoyed, and their home buzzed with laughter. When Amara came visiting after the birth, she brought bags of gifts, baby clothes, diapers, and even a small gold chain. She stayed 5 days, always smiling, cuddling the baby like her own. Nnenna noticed how longingly her sister looked at the child, but she didn't say anything. She simply thought her sister was happy to be around family. A few months later, Amara visited again. This time, Keen had traveled for work. The sisters stayed up late talking and laughing over old memories. Then, out of nowhere, Amara's face fell. She began to cry. Nnenna was startled. "Amara, what's wrong?" she asked. Her sister slowly knelt on the floor, trembling. "Nnenna," she whispered, "can I ask you for a favor?" Her voice cracked. "Can you give me a child?" Nnenna blinked, confused. "What do you mean?" Amara's next words were heavy. "I want you to get pregnant for Keen again. And give me the baby. I'll pretend to be pregnant too." Nnenna froze. Her mouth opened but no words came out. Amara continued. "You'll tell Keen the baby died at birth. I'll take the child and raise it as mine." The room suddenly felt cold. Nnenna's heart pounded in her chest. Sounded crazy. Unbelievable. But Amara looked desperate, her tears soaked the floor. Nnenna felt torn. This was her only sister, who had suffered so much. After a long silence she whispered, "Okay. If that will make you happy." The decision didn't come from logic. It came from love, a love that would cost her more than she could imagine. Nnenna got pregnant again, and when she went for a scan, the doctor smiled. "You're having twins," he said. She was stunned. 2 boys. When she told Amara, her sister's face lit up like a Christmas tree. But then she said, "Please, can I have both?" Nnenna's expression changed. "No, Amara. That wasn't the deal. 1 child only." Amara begged, argued, pleaded, but Nnenna stood her ground. "We agreed on 1. I'll keep 1, and you'll take the other." Reluctantly, Amara agreed. And when the day came, Nnenna gave birth to 2 healthy boys. She kept 1 and handed the other to her sister. The handover was quiet. No family knew. No celebration, no public naming. Nnenna went home with 1 son, whom she named Chimeri. Amara took the second boy, whom she called Ibube. Amara's home suddenly transformed. Her husband, Obiora, wept openly, dancing around the house with their miracle baby. He called him a gift from heaven. Neighbors came to rejoice. A lavish child dedication followed. People were fed, musicians played, and the baby was praised like royalty. Nnenna stayed away. She watched from a distance and comforted herself that her sacrifice had given her sister the joy she longed for. Months rolled into years. Nnenna raised Chimeri with love. He grew strong, curious, and bright. Sometimes she would look at him and wonder how his twin brother was doing. Amara rarely brought Ibube over. She always had one excuse or the other: school, weather, Obiora's mood. But Nnenna noticed something else too. Whenever she asked Amara for photos or updates, the responses were cold or dismissive. "He's fine," she would say. "Always stubborn, but what can I do?" At first, Nnenna thought it was just frustration talking. But the unease in her heart refused to go away. Then the news came like lightning. 9 months after Ibube's dedication, Amara called Nnenna, screaming with joy. "Nnenna, "I'm pregnant!" she shouted. "I didn't even believe the test. I went to the hospital. 3 times they confirmed it." Nnenna sat in silence, shocked. Was it possible that after all these years, her sister conceived naturally? Seemed like a miracle. Amara's pregnancy journey was smooth, and she gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. Barely a year later, she conceived again and gave birth to a boy. Now she had 3 children, and the first wasn't even hers. With the arrival of her biological children, Amara began to change. She became distant, cold, even toward Nnenna. But worst of all, her treatment of Ibube shifted. Whenever Nnenna visited, she noticed the boy looked withdrawn. His clothes were often dirty, his hair uncombed. He clung to corners, flinched at loud voices. On one visit, Nnenna saw marks, cane lines on his arms. Her heart nearly stopped. "Amara!" she shouted. "What happened to Ibube?" Amara rolled her eyes. "That boy is just too stubborn. He never listens. Always breaking things, running around." Her tone had no warmth, no mother's love. Nnenna tried to keep calm. "But he's just a child," she said softly. "He's only 5. Amara hissed. "Don't start with me, Nnenna. You don't live with him. He gives me headache every single day." That night Nnenna cried. The image of the tattered boy with welts on his back haunted her. She thought of telling Keen, but fear gripped her. What if he found out the truth? Would he ever forgive her? Still, the pain was unbearable. She had given her sister a precious gift, and now that gift was being mistreated like trash. The contrast between the children was glaring. Amara's daughter wore the finest clothes and shoes. Her second son had new toys, parties, and everything a child could want. But Ibube, he got the leftovers. He was always left out during family outings. On his birthday, Amara didn't even buy him a slice of cake. Meanwhile, her biological children had cakes, clowns, and bouncy castles. Nnenna felt rage simmering beneath her skin. She went to Amara one day and said gently, "This is not fair. Ibube deserves love too." Amara snapped. "Don't you dare interfere in my home. I took that child for you. Now leave me alone." Obiora, Amara's husband, was not blind. He noticed everything. The bruises, the harsh words, the favoritism. He called her out. "What has that boy done to deserve this, Amara?" he asked one night. "He's a child. You once cried for one." But Amara only shouted him down. "You wouldn't understand. That boy. He reminds me too much of the pain. Too much of the weight." Obiora couldn't make sense of it. He began to withdraw. Their home grew tense. The one child who had brought laughter to the house was now the reason for constant fights. Nnenna was tired of crying. The guilt was choking her. Each time she slept, she dreamt of Ibube crying, reaching out to her. In the dreams he called her Mama, with tears streaming down his face. She would wake up shaking, drenched in sweat. She began to break. Her once bright eyes dulled. Even Chimeri noticed. "Mummy, why do you cry at night?" he asked. She hugged him close and said nothing. But in her heart she made a decision. She couldn't let her son suffer anymore. One night, Nnenna sat up in bed. Her heart raced. The nightmares wouldn't stop. She turned to Keen, sleeping beside her, and tapped his shoulder. "Keen," she whispered. He stirred. She knelt beside him and began to cry. "I have something to tell you. Please don't hate me." Keen sat up, alarmed. "What is it, Nnenna?" Through sobs she told him everything. The deal with Amara. Twin boys. The lies. The sacrifice. The mistreatment. Keen stared at her, stunned. Then he shouted, "What? You gave away my son." Nnenna fell on the floor, shaking. "I'm sorry, Keen. I thought I was helping her. I didn't know she would treat him this way. Please forgive me." Keen was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "Do you have proof?" She shook her head. "No. But we can do a DNA test." His face darkened. "That woman is wicked. But how could you hide this from me? She cried harder. She told me you would end the marriage if you found out. She used your past anger against me. Keen's jaw tightened. Let me get my son first. The next morning, Nnenna and Keen dressed in silence. Neither spoke as they drove to Amara's house. When they arrived, Obiora opened the door surprised. Keen. Nnenna. You didn't call. We need to talk, Keen interrupted. They sat in the living room. Amara entered, her expression guarded. What's this about? Keen looked straight at her. We're here for our son. Obiora's face paled. Amara laughed, nervous. What are you talking about? Nnenna stood. You know what we're talking about. You know what I did for you. It's over now. Give me back my child. Obiora looked from Nnenna to Amara. What's going on? What child? Silence fell. Keen broke it. For 11 years you cried for a child. My wife carried one for you. And now you treat him like garbage. Obiora staggered back. Wait. Ibube. Amara's mouth trembled. You told him, she hissed. You said he would leave you. Keen's voice boomed. You thought she was weak, but she's not. You don't deserve that boy. You don't deserve a sister like her. Amara stood speechless. For once she had no defense. Little Ibube walked into the room, rubbing his sleepy eyes. He saw the 3 adults and stopped. Mummy, he whispered. Keen stepped forward and bent down. My boy, he said gently. Do you want to come with us? The child looked up, confused. Amara stood frozen. Obiora looked away, ashamed. Without a word, Keen scooped the boy into his arms. Ibube didn't resist. He rested his head on Keen's shoulder, like he had been waiting for that moment all his life. Nnenna wiped her tears. Her son was finally going home. Back home, Nnenna collapsed into a chair, holding Ibube close. I'm so sorry, she whispered over and over. The boy looked at her quietly, unsure. Keen knelt beside them. From today you are with us. You are safe. You are loved. That night they ate together for the first time. Chimeri stared at his twin, amazed. You look like me, he said. Ibube smiled shyly. For the first time he laughed, a sound Nnenna hadn't heard in years. Slowly the healing began. Later that night, Keen wrapped his arms around Nnenna. You were right to tell me, he said softly. And I was wrong to ever make you afraid of me. She broke down in tears again. I'm sorry for everything. He kissed her forehead. No more secrets. No more pain. We'll raise our boys together, with love. Nnenna nodded, overwhelmed. She had lost so much, but in that moment she felt like she had gained the world. Her family was whole again. The adjustment wasn't easy. Ibube barely spoke for days. He flinched at sudden movements and had nightmares that left him screaming in the middle of the night. Nnenna would run into his room, hold him tightly and whisper, You're safe now. No one will hurt you again. Keen too spent time reading with him, teaching him to ride a bicycle, slowly building trust. Chimeri tried to make his twin laugh, sharing toys and stories from school. Sometimes Ibube would just sit and watch, unsure how to respond. Healing, Nnenna realized, would take time, but they would wait. One day, as Nnenna was brushing his hair, Ibube asked quietly, Are you really my mummy? She froze for a second, then smiled and nodded. Yes, baby. I carried you in my belly, just like Chimeri. You are my son. He stared at her, unsure. But why did you leave me? Tears welled up in her eyes. She pulled him into her lap. I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was helping someone I loved. I was wrong. And I will never leave you again. Never. He looked into her eyes, then slowly wrapped his arms around her. That hug meant everything. Word spread quietly in the family. Their cousin Ugochi was the first to visit. She sat with Nnenna and said, I always knew something didn't feel right about Amara's first child. He never looked like Obiora, but I dared not say anything. Nnenna shook her head. It doesn't matter now. What matters is that he's back. Others came too. some to gossip, others to apologize for looking the other way. But Nnenna didn't care. Her focus was on her son's healing. The past could talk behind her. Her eyes were on the future. Meanwhile, Amara's world was unraveling. Obiora withdrew emotionally. Though he still lived in the house, the warmth was gone. "You used your own sister's womb to fake a miracle," he said one day. "And when God finally gave you children, you turned against the one who opened the door." Amara cried, begged, and even knelt. "I was confused. I didn't mean to hurt him." Obiora sighed. "Maybe. But you did. And now, I don't even recognize the woman I married." Her home was slowly crumbling, and she knew it. One afternoon, Amara showed up at Nnenna's doorstep. She looked thinner, older. Her eyes were sunken, her voice weak. Nnenna was surprised but let her in. The house was quiet. Keen and the boys were out. Amara stood in the living room, looking at the photos on the wall. Pictures of the twins, smiling together, framed in love. "I came to say sorry," she began. Nnenna sat down, arms folded. Amara continued. "I failed you. Failed that boy. I let bitterness steal my joy. Please forgive me." Nnenna took a deep breath. "You didn't just fail me, Amara. You abused a child. You lied to your husband. You mocked my silence. You let my son suffer." Amara nodded, tears falling freely. "I know. I hate myself for it." She paused, then whispered, "Obiora has forgiven me. He says I need to seek your forgiveness too. And your husband's." Nnenna looked away, tears in her own eyes. "I forgive you. But things can't be the same again. Whatever bond we had is broken. I wish you healing, but I don't wish to walk that path with you anymore." Amara stood in silence, taking in Nnenna's words. Her lips trembled, but she didn't argue. She nodded slowly and turned to leave. As she reached the door, she paused. "Tell him I'm sorry. Tlabub. I never hated him. I just lost my way." Nnenna said nothing. After she left, she sat down in the quiet, staring at the door. She had released her sister from her heart, but the weight of betrayal still hung like smoke in the room. Healing might have begun, but the scars would always remain. Keen returned with the boys just after sunset. They were laughing, carrying a kite they had flown at the park. "He ran faster than his brother," Keen said proudly, ruffling Ibub's hair. The boy beamed. Nnenna smiled faintly. "Your aunt was here," she said quietly. Keen's face hardened. "And she apologized. I told her we forgive her, but we're done." Keen nodded. "Good. That chapter is closed." He looked at Ibub and knelt before him. "From today, this is your home, your family, and you will never be made to feel less again. You are our son." Chimeri grew fond of having his twin around. At school, he told everyone proudly, "This is my brother. We were born together." Their teachers were surprised at the bond between the two boys, especially after hearing bits of their story. Ibub, once shy and withdrawn, began to blossom. He joined the school's art club and loved drawing. One of his paintings, a picture of two boys holding hands under a rainbow, won a local contest. When Nnenna saw it, she burst into tears. "That's you and Chimeri?" she asked. Ibub nodded, smiling. "Yes. And the rainbow is peace." Nnenna decided to take both boys for counseling. She wanted them to grow with confidence, not trauma. The therapist said something she never forgot. "Your son may not forget the pain, but he will heal if love surrounds him constantly. Keep showing him that he belongs." So, Nnenna poured herself into motherhood. She made sure birthdays were never missed, hugs were never withheld, and praise was given freely. Even Keen, once quiet and emotionally distant, transformed into a hands-on father. The home that had once hidden secrets now radiated truth, warmth, and second chances. One Sunday after church, Chimeri asked, "Mummy, will we ever see Auntie Amara again?" Nnenna hesitated. "Why do you ask? She's still your sister, right?" Ibub added, looking up. Nnenna took a deep breath. She was my sister. We grew up together, laughed, cried, shared dreams. But some things happen in life that break the bond. Sometimes, to protect your heart, you have to close the door. The boys didn't fully understand, but they sensed it was painful for her. But we can still pray for her? Chimeri asked. Nnenna smiled. Yes, my love. We always pray. But we don't forget. As the months rolled by, Ibube began to ask more questions. Why did Auntie treat me like that? He asked one night. Nnenna sat on his bed, brushing his hair. Because some people forget how to love when they're hurting, she said gently. She thought her pain was bigger than yours. But it wasn't. Ibube was quiet for a while, then whispered, Will I ever be normal? Nnenna's heart broke. She held his face and said, You are not broken, Ibube. You are strong. You are brave. And you are deeply loved. That is all that matters. Keen started calling Ibube champion. Every morning he would say, Wake up, champion. Time to rule the world. The name stuck. Soon even Chimeri began to use it. Ibube smiled every time he heard it. One day he asked, Why do you call me that? Keen said, Because you survived more than most people ever will. And because you still smile. That makes you a champion. It became their family's secret code. Whenever life got tough, they would say, Remember, you're a champion. It was a badge of honor for a boy who had once been discarded. One evening, Nnenna stood at the window, watching the twins play in the yard. Keen came behind her and wrapped his arms around her waist. They've come a long way, he said softly. She nodded. We all have. He kissed her cheek. I'm proud of you. She turned to face him. No, Keen. I'm proud of us. We survived betrayal, heartbreak, and secrets. And somehow we found healing. They stood in silence, watching the boys laugh, run, and tumble in the grass. Free, whole, and loved. It was more than Nnenna had ever hoped for. After the Family Appreciation Day, Ibube became a favorite in school. His teacher, Mrs. Igioma, called Nnenna one afternoon. He has a strong heart, she said. He always helps others. And when anyone feels sad, he tells them, You can still have a happy ending. Nnenna's voice cracked as she replied. He's been through so much. I just want him to feel safe now. Mrs. Igioma paused. Whatever you're doing at home, keep doing it. It's changing him. Nnenna ended the call in tears, holding tightly to a photo of her twin boys smiling side by side. Obiora came visiting months later. He sat with Keen and Nnenna in the living room while the boys played outside. I had to see him, he said. Not as a father anymore, but to say thank you. His voice was low but sincere. Raising him changed my life. I just wish I had done better. Keen nodded slowly. We all made mistakes, he said. But the boy is healing, and that's what matters now. Obiora asked if he could see Ibube. Nnenna hesitated but agreed. Ibube walked in, stared at Obiora, and tilted his head. Uncle? He asked softly. Obiora knelt down. Yes, Ibube. I'm sorry. Ibube didn't say anything. He just looked at the man who had once called him son, but let him suffer. Obiora added, I failed you. I didn't speak up when I should have. But I'm proud of who you're becoming. After a long pause, Ibube nodded slowly. Thank you. It wasn't a hug. It wasn't a smile. But it was peace. When Obiora left, Nnenna held her son. Are you okay? She asked. Ibube nodded. He said sorry. That's enough. He had learned something most adults still struggle with. Forgiveness without forgetting. Chimeri and Ibube became inseparable. They played together, fought over toys, and told each other secrets. When we grow up, Chimeri said one evening, let's be doctors. And live in the same house. Ibube laughed. No, I want to be an artist. Chimeri frowned. Fine, then I'll be your bodyguard. Their laughter filled the house. For Nnenna and Keen, nothing compared to watching their boys grow in peace and unity. The days of secrets, guilt, and pain seemed like shadows from a distant past. The boys were writing a new story, and this time it was their own. A year later, the family took their first vacation. They traveled to Obuda Ranch, a quiet, peaceful retreat in the hills. The twins rode horses, swam in the pool, and laughed under the stars. One evening, while roasting marshmallows by the fire, Ibube looked up at the stars and whispered, "Thank you, God. I'm happy now." Nnenna heard him and blinked back tears. She remembered the nights she'd begged God for forgiveness, for restoration. And here it was. Family whole again. A child once lost, now found. Amara never fully recovered from what happened, but she changed. She began to volunteer at a children's home, helping orphans with schoolwork and meals. It was her silent way of making peace with herself. People whispered about her story, but she no longer reacted. She had lost the respect of many, but found humility. One day she sent a letter to Nnenna. It read, "Thank you for forgiving me. I pray one day, when our hair is gray and the past is far away, you'll look at me again as your sister. Until then, I'll keep changing." Nnenna read the letter in silence. She folded it gently and placed it in a box where she kept other letters, old cards, drawings from the twins, a photo of her parents. She didn't respond. Not out of hatred, but because some wounds need silence to close. She prayed for Amara, but never reached out again. The bond was broken, but not her humanity. Forgiveness was not a door she could reopen. It was a road she had to walk alone. The twins turned 8. Their birthdays were now a grand celebration. Balloons, gifts, cakes, and joy. Each year they asked for the same thing. "Mummy, let us dress the same." It was their unspoken way of honoring their bond. They often sat side by side, drawing comics, building castles, or making funny dances for their parents. Nnenna would often sit back and watch them with her hand on her heart. "You too," she'd whisper, "are my greatest miracle." One evening, the family visited an amusement park. The boys ran toward the Ferris wheel while Nnenna and Keen strolled behind. "We've come a long way," Keen said, taking her hand. "Do you ever wish things happened differently?" Nnenna smiled softly. "Sometimes. But then I remember, if not for that pain we might not have this peace. Maybe some blessings come wrapped in sorrow." Keen nodded. "And sometimes, love is doing the hardest thing for someone else, and surviving it." They stood there quietly, watching the wheel turn like time itself moving toward peace. Chimeri once asked, "Mummy, what's the bravest thing you've ever done?" Nnenna thought long and hard. "Choosing to fight for what I almost lost," she said. He looked puzzled. "Your job?" He chuckled. "No, my child. I once let someone go, thinking it was love. But when I saw it was hurting them, I fought to bring them back. That was the hardest thing I ever did." Ibube looked up from his book. "Was that about me?" She smiled, teary-eyed. "Yes, baby. It was always about you." In school, the twins were known as the Miracle Brothers. Their story had quietly spread, not by gossip, but by inspiration. One teacher even asked if she could write a children's book about them. "Can I call it The Boy Who Found Home?" she asked Nnenna. At first, Nnenna hesitated. "Their story is private," she said. But after speaking to Keen and the boys, she agreed, on one condition. Let it be about healing, not pain. The book was published the next year. It became a local bestseller. The twins grew into young boys with strong personalities. Chimeri loved science and fixing things. Ibube loved painting and storytelling. "Maybe you'll be a famous artist one day," Nnenna said, hanging his drawing on the wall. Ibube smiled. "Then I'll paint our whole family. Even Auntie Amara." Nnenna paused. "Why her?" He shrugged. "Because she's part of the story too." Nnenna kissed his forehead. "You're right. You're wiser than your years, Ibube." He grinned. "That's because I'm a champion." Nnenna started a blog quietly, From Broken to Beautiful, where she shared pieces of her journey using fictional names. Mothers began to message her. Women who had sacrificed, stayed silent, or made hard decisions. Her inbox filled with messages that said, "Thank you for sharing your truth." One woman wrote, I gave my child to my sister years ago and never saw her again. Your story gave me courage to look for her." Nnenna realized then that her story wasn't just hers. It belonged to many women too afraid to speak. One afternoon, Keen called Nnenna to the living room. He held a wrapped box. "Open it," he said with a grin. Inside was a silver necklace with 2 charms, each shaped like a boy holding hands. "You carried both of them. You loved both of them. And you saved both of them," he said. Nnenna teared up. "I don't deserve this." He held her close. "You deserve everything good. You're the heartbeat of this family." She wore the necklace with pride, the charms resting over her heart, right where her boys always belonged. That night, as the family gathered for dinner, laughter echoed through the home. The boys talked about school, cracked jokes, and passed plates to each other. Nnenna looked around the table and felt full, not just of food, but of gratitude. "Dear God," she prayed silently, "thank you for giving me the strength to right my wrongs, for not letting my son be lost forever, for this home, this peace, this love." And as they bowed their heads for grace, a quiet voice whispered inside her, "This is what healing looks like." Years passed. The twins entered their teenage years, taller, stronger, and more independent. One afternoon, Ibube stood at the kitchen sink, washing dishes when he turned to Nnenna. "Mummy, do you think people can change completely?" She paused before replying. "I think people can grow. Some grow better, some worse. But change, real change, it starts with the heart." He nodded. "Then I think Auntie Amara changed. I saw her last week at the children's center. She looked different, kind." Nnenna smiled faintly. Sometimes pain teaches people how to be kind. Maybe that's her story now. Chimeri had become very protective of his twin. At school, he once stood up to a senior who teased Ibube about his quiet nature. "You don't know what he's been through," Chimeri had said boldly. The principal called Nnenna in and praised her. "They have each other's backs. That's rare these days," she said. At home, Nnenna told the boys, "The world is loud, but your bond must always be louder." Ibube leaned on Chimeri's shoulder. "Even when we're old." Chimeri laughed. "Even when we're grandpas with gray beards." One Sunday, Amara showed up at church. She sat in the back pew, quiet and alone. After service, she approached Nnenna outside, her eyes unsure. "I didn't come to cause trouble," she said. "I just missed hearing your voice." Nnenna looked at her for a long time. "I'm not angry anymore, Amara. But I'm still healing." Amara nodded. "I understand." For the first time in years, they stood side by side in silence. 2 women once bound by sisterhood, then torn by betrayal, now standing on the edge of a fragile peace. That evening, Nnenna told Keen about the encounter. "Do you think I should let her in again?" she asked. Keen held her hand. "Only if your heart is ready. Don't do it out of guilt. Do it out of peace." Nnenna nodded. She lay awake that night thinking of the past, not with pain but with understanding. Amara had broken something that took years to rebuild. But maybe, just maybe, the wound could scar over without reopening. And that, in itself, was enough. Ibube, now 16, hosted his first art exhibition at school. Parents and students crowded the gallery, admiring the colorful, emotional paintings. One titled Second Chance caught everyone's attention, a boy reaching from a dark pit toward a hand in the light. Nnenna stood frozen in front of it. "Is that you?" she asked softly. Ibube nodded. "It's the moment you took me back. I wanted people to see what love looks like when it shows up late, but still saves you." She hugged him tightly. "You were never late. You were right on time." Chimeri joined the school's science club and earned a scholarship for a regional robotics competition. He dedicated his win to "my brother, who showed me that brains and bravery go hand in hand." At the award ceremony, the 2 boys stood on stage, holding their medals. A reporter interviewed them and asked, "What's your secret?" Chimeri grinned. "We've been together since the womb. We've already won the hardest battles. The rest is easy." Laughter erupted. But Nnenna and Keen knew the truth, that behind every joke was a story of survival. One weekend, the whole family gathered for a barbecue. Nnenna invited Amara, not out of duty, but from a place of quiet resolution. Amara brought drinks and even played board games with the boys. For the first time she laughed freely. Keen watched from the grill and whispered to his wife, "This feels peaceful." Nnenna nodded. "It took years. But I think we're finally okay." The boys didn't ask questions. They were too busy living the new story, one not of betrayal but of redemption. Nnenna and Keen sat on their balcony that night, watching the stars. "We did it," she said softly. "We brought him back. Not just into the house, but into love." Keen kissed her hand. "We almost lost him, but love doesn't give up." She leaned on his shoulder. "Do you think they'll remember this when they become fathers?" He smiled. "They'll remember everything. How you fought. How we rebuilt. They'll love their children from a place of understanding." Years later, Ibube became a well-known artist. His painting The Mother's Heart was displayed at a national gallery. It featured a woman holding two identical boys, one clutched close, the other offered to another pair of arms. Beneath it, a simple caption read, "Love breaks but love rebuilds." Reporters asked about the inspiration. He only said, "My mother once let me go for love, but then she fought for me with everything she had. That's why I'm here." The audience applauded, but Nnenna, standing in the back, quietly wiped her tears. Chimeri became a robotics engineer working abroad, but he video called home every week. One day he called while Ibube was visiting, and the brothers chatted like old times. "Mummy still wears that necklace?" Chimeri asked, laughing. "Every day," Ibube replied. "She says it's her crown." Nnenna walked in, overhearing them. "It's not just a crown," she said. "It's a reminder that no matter what life takes from you, love will always bring something back." And as the screen froze in laughter and love, she smiled, knowing her family had truly come full circle.